what you're going to do is you're going to find the second chain from the hook. So it's not this one, it is this one here. And if my camera would just focus, there we go. And so what we're going to do is we're going to insert, and we are going to create a single crochet. Okay. And that is what we're going to do into each and every single chain across the way here. So you're going to just directly insert your hook. Make sure that you pick up both the yarns as you go. So you're treating this as one piece of yarn. And every time you insert your hook, make sure that, you are going through both. Okay, so you've got a bulky 5 and a fine weight 1 working together here. Okay, and that is all you're going to do all the way to the end is 1 single crochet into each and every single stitch. So this is row 1 of your pattern. At the end of row 1, your work will look something like this. And of course, it will stretch out a little bit. So these are your 50 chains, single crochets worked into each chain. I have 1 left. So you are going to work right into that very last one. And of course, at the end, you should always count to double check you have the right amount of stitches. Okay, so your work now is looking something like that. Super pretty. So we are now going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to turn our work. For row 2, we're going to be working 1 double crochet into each stitch all the way to the end. So row 1 were single crochets, row 2 is double crochets. Okay, now remember, this is not to be worked into because it's the base of this stitch here, which is considered a double crochet. So you'll yarn over, insert your hook, and pull through 3 loops on the hook, pull through the first 2, pull through the second 2, and there you have a double crochet. So technically the chain 3 counts as 1, and this one goes into the next stitch. And this is what we're going to do into each stitch all the way to the end of this row, which is row 2. So go ahead and do that, and I will meet you at the end of row 2. I'm coming up to the end of round 2, and you can really see how that fine yarn working through the thicker one is really adding some beautiful, lovely hints of color and texture. So I'm just finishing up row rounds. I've been doing a lot of projects with rounds. So I'm going to do, so that is the last stitch here. So I'm going to do a double crochet into that. And remember, there's a chain 1 here that counts as a single crochet. So I want to make sure that I work into that. So I'm going to pull that through here and then make sure to catch that other loop there. And finish off the double crochet. Okay, so that's nice and even. So that is the end of my row 2. Now, row 3 is actually a repeat of row 1. And in fact, this is the way it's going to continue to go. It's going to go single crochets, double crochets, single crochets, double crochet, 1 row of each. The difference is the next time we come to a double crochet, we're going to do something just slightly different, and that will be the repeat. So we're going to, for row 3, we're going to repeat row 1. So that is, we've chained 1, we've turned our work, and you're going to go into the very next stitch. So remember, this is the base of this chain 1. And in fact, one thing you want to be aware of when you're doing things like single crochets, when you do that chain 1, try not to chain too tightly because a lot of times that stitch gets lost. And then we're going into the very next stitch to do a single crochet. And this is our next row, is 1 single crochet into each stitch all the way across. So this is a repeat of row 1. Coming up to the end here, and I'm going to double crochet. And remember that chain 3, we have to double crochet into the top of the chain 3. Okay, so your work now looks like this. And we are now going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and turn our work. So what we're going to do now is we are going to do a double crochet into the very next space, which is this one right here. So you will always have a chain 3 on one end and a double crochet in the very end, just a regular double crochet. And we're starting with a regular double crochet into the first stitch. Next, what we're going to do is you're going to continue doing double crochets, but now you're going to alternate between a regular double crochet and a front post double crochet. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the previous row that had double crochets, which was row 2. We're going to insert our hook behind the post of the double crochet. So you'll notice it pushes it forward. You will yarn over and then pull through and loosely bring up the loop nice and tall, because now we've gone down another row. After that, you'll yarn over, you'll pull through the first 2 loops like you normally would in a double crochet, keeping these loops fairly loose, because remember, we have to reach to the height of 2 rows above. Then you'll yarn over and pull through 2. And that is what the tricot stitch looks like. It's a really pretty effect. So it's using the post of the stitch 2 rows below, which is always going to be the double crochet row. Okay. Next, what you're going to do is find the very next stitch. So this post belongs to this stitch here. So the very next stitch, an easy way to do this, find your next double crochet and follow it up. So the stitch of the single crochet here, you're going to work a regular double crochet into that stitch. Okay. So if I do that again, I'm going to yarn over, find the next post, which is right here, pull through nice and loose, yarn over and yarn over. And that is what you're going to do all the way till the end of the row. So we'll do that again. Yarn over, you're going to find the post of the very next double crochet, and you want to push that forward. So make sure that when you insert between the stitches, you don't come back up this way. You want to actually come out the other side, like you're weaving that in, okay? You'll yarn over and you'll pull through, but you want to keep it nice and relaxed so you can pull up a bit. So the loop is quite tall, because remember you have to meet up the height of the next row, because we're currently in row 4, okay? You'll yarn over, pull through, and you'll yarn over and finish like a regular double crochet. So that creates this nice braided looking loop here. And it has such a really cool effect. So every other stitch, you're going to do a regular double crochet into the top of that stitch. So the next post would be here. Above that is the single crochet stitch. And we want to just do a regular double crochet into that. Okay, and if you're ever unsure, just turn to the back. Okay, so the regular stitch is worked in, the front post is skipped this stitch. That's a regular stitch, that's a front post, because remember it's worked into the post of the front. So we just worked a regular stitch so you can see it's worked there. So if you ever see 2 stitches skipped or no stitches skipped, then you know you made a boo-boo there, okay? And this is the repeat. So the pattern will continue to go like this. Currently we're in the double crochet row. So this is row 4, if you start from the top. And so the repeat will be row 4 and row 3. Row 3, row 4, row 3. So that means after this, after we do a regular double crochet, then a front post double crochet, regular double crochet, front post, you do it all the way to the end. You will chain 1, turn your work, and then we work another row of single crochets. And then you chain 3 and repeat again. Go ahead and finish this pattern, and I will meet you at the end of this row so I can show you just basically how to move on to the next to repeat row 3. Okay, so just back one more time. We're going to find, so we're not going to work into this post, we're going to find the very next one, insert our hook behind the post so it pushes it forward, yarn over, pull up nice and loose, yarn over to pull through 2, and it creates that beautiful twisty look, and then yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, and then we'll work a regular double crochet into the very next stitch. So I find the post and I follow my way up, and it's right there. Isn't that pretty? Okay guys, go ahead and finish off your row, and I will take you through to the next section. Okay, so we're coming up to the end of row 4, and now your work is really starting to take shape. It's got this gorgeous texture, and the other thing I love about this stitch is if you turn it upside down, it looks like little rosebuds, which is super pretty. Okay, so at the end here, I've got a post and a chain 3. No, that's actually a double crochet. So remember at the beginning, we did a chain 3. There we go, chain 3 and a regular double crochet. So that means we have 2 double crochets on each end. So that works out perfectly. So I'm just going to do a regular double crochet into the stitch, not into the post. And then I'm going to yarn over and do another one into the very top of that stitch there, so that I will have my work flanked by 2 regular double crochets on each side. There we go. Okay, so basically, as I said before, you're just going to keep repeating row 3 and 4. So for row 3, going back to row 3, you're just going to do your chain 1 and turn your work. And remember, we don't work into that base of that there. We go into the very next one. And just nice and simple, we go across the row and we single crochet into each stitch across. So now you can really tell there is a front and a back part to your work, okay? So the single crochets help us work across so that we can always keep the tricot pattern facing your front. So this is not a reversible pattern. Okay, so go ahead and do your single crochets, and I just want to get you started repeating row 4 again, just so you can see where the tricot stitches will sit in the next row. Here we are coming up to the end of the row 3 repeat. So that is my last stitch there. I'm going to single crochet, and then I've got the top of my chain 3. So I just find that top of the chain 3 and I single crochet there. Okay, so when I turn my work now, this is what it looks like. Doesn't that look amazing? I love this texture. It's so pretty. So we are now going to repeat row 4. But here's where things differ a wee bit. We're going to chain 3 to start. 2, 3. And this time we're going to work into these double crochets. So you always go 2 rows down. So the row below the single crochet row. But this time I want to tricot into each alternating stitch. Okay. So this time when I yarn over, I'm going to insert my hook into the very first post, which is right here. Okay. So then when I yarn over and pull up nice and loose and pull through 2 and pull through 2, now that is falling on a diagonal. So now where the previous one was, that's the one that I am going to do a regular crochet, double crochet into. Okay, so I'm going to insert, pull through, and I was just checking the back there to make sure it was on the right stitch. Okay, so again, just follow the last one and up to the top, there's that stitch. So I'm going to do that again so you can get the real perspective of how this pattern is going to be created. So you'll yarn over, instead of going into the front post that's already been worked, you want to find the post that has not been worked, the one next to it. So see, it's nestled in between these two. Yarn over, stretch it nice and tall, pull through 2 and pull through 2. Okay. So now you're going to see an alternating effect. And I'll do a couple more so you can really see. So I'm going to yarn over. This time I'm just going to do a regular double crochet into the very next stitch. Okay. And then I'll yarn over and find the next post, which is this one right here. And again, keep this, when you pull this one up, keep it nice and loose. You want to create it a bit taller so you can reach up to the next row there and resolve like a regular double crochet. Now a regular into the top of the next stitch. Pull through 2 and pull through 2. So now you should really be able to see how it's creating this lovely textured pattern here. Okay, so as you can see, so it's meant to alternate, and that's what will happen with consecutive rows. So you're going to finish this off, and so in this row your second last stitch will be the tricot stitch here, and then you'll have 1 double crochet on its own. Then you'll repeat row 3, which is a row of single crochets, and when you go to repeat row 4, you will come back to doing a chain 3, a double crochet, regular double crochet, and then a front post. So I hope that makes sense. So every other row, you will have 2 regular double crochets flanking each row, and then every other one you'll have only 1. So this one had 2 regulars, this one had 1. Okay.